back. The big breaking news we're tracking here on NewsX. Vijay Mallya, former liquor baron who in fact has been declared an absconder, a fugitive from Indian law, was arrested this morning in London, but then within 3 hours of that arrest also granted bail by a magistrates court in Westminster in London. Remember, the 61-year-old businessman fled India in March last year. This after he'd begun to feel the heat with the Indian authorities chasing him in connection with the several cases of cheating, fraud, criminal conspiracy and money laundering that he faces. Remember, he owes the Indian banks more than 9,000 crore rupees after his airline, Kingfisher Airlines, was grounded. Those were, of course, huge loans that were granted to his airline, and once it went kaput, once it went defunct, Vijay Mallya decided to just leave the country without paying those loans to the tune of 9,000 crore, and therefore Vijay Mallya today is a fugitive from Indian law. But the question is, will the government manage to bring him back to India to face the Indian law? Many believe this is just the first step in the right direction. I'm told my colleague Rahul Gautam now joins us with more on the story. Rahul, the question is that the CBI is pursuing cases against Vijay Mallya, the Enforcement Directorate is pursuing cases against Vijay Mallya, the Indian government has taken up the matter with the authorities in the UK at the highest levels. But what are the options available to India at this stage, given that Mallya has been granted bail? What is the CBI saying?
Well, CBI is very confident. They are dubbing this as their victory. Today, Mallya appeared in this court in London in connection with the extradition request that was put forward by the Indian authorities in connection with the defaulting loan to tune of 900 crore rupees of IDBI Bank. The option available ahead now, the UK authorities are now going to take up this matter on behalf of Indian authorities, and they're going to try to prosecute Vijay Mallya on the charges of duping and fraud, adopting fraudulent practices to fleecing money from the consortium of banks to tune to 9,000 crore rupees. On the other hand, the BJP government is also saying that this shows that Narendra Modi government means business, and it's time for Mallya to go home, and he'll soon be deported or extradited by the government. We have spoken to the official sources of ours with the country's Supreme Investigative Agency, that is CBI, and they are telling us that it is the willpower of the current UK government, and if they really wants to deport or extradite Vijay Mallya, they can easily do it. Union Finance Minister Arun Jaitley had also taken up this matter when the Theresa May, the current Prime Minister of England, had visited country and requested her on a personal note that Vijay Mallya must be given to Indian authorities so that he could be prosecuted here for the charges that has been leveled against him pertaining to the duping, rupees 8,000 and more crore rupees from the various banks. The investigation is still on. The CBI officials are saying that they have a watertight case against Vijay Mallya, and soon, they'll be able to bring him back to the country so that he could face the law here.
All right, and really the big question, Rahul, at this stage is, will the UK court's decision be a favorable one for India? Because really it is now up to the judiciary. The government here, of course, exerting all possible pressure on authorities in the UK. We know that this has been taken up by India at the highest political levels in the UK. There were some secret meetings held in London just 2 months ago when Finance Minister Arun Jaitley was visiting London. But coming back to the specific cases that are pending against Vijay Mallya, Rahul, for the benefit of our viewers, give us some details of the specific charges that Vijay Mallya faces.
Basically, there are two cases that are pending against him, which were filed by CBI. One is this IDBI case in which he was produced before this court this afternoon. This case pertains to IDBI Bank of duping and fleecing money from this bank on the basis of fake documents to the tune of 900 crore rupees. The second case was filed by State Bank of India and other 17 banks against Vijay Mallya and other accused people, who were holding position in United Breweries and Kingfisher Airlines. And this case it amounts to rupees 6,000 crore rupees and above. Apart from this, the ED has also registered a case against him on the charges of money laundering. So basically, these are three main cases which are pending against Vijay Mallya. And I must also tell you that 67 people are currently in UK, which have been, requested by the Indian government to extradite them. However, none of them have been extradited, or however, the process of all of these people are still on. But none of them have been extradited by the UK authorities. Till the date, not a single person have been deported or extradited by the UK authorities. So as I told you earlier, that it is the willpower of the current dispensation. If they really want to extradite or deport Vijay Mallya so that he could come back to our country and face the law, they can do it. That's why the current Narendra Modi government is taking up this matter with the highest authorities in UK, so that they could return him and he could be, booked here, and he could face trial here on our soil.
All right. Will he face trial here in India? That still remains the million-dollar question, Rahul, because as you mentioned there, going by really the track record, of agencies somehow managing to get individuals extradited from the UK is perhaps not a very encouraging one. Since the extradition treaty between the two countries came into existence in 1993, we've had only one instance of somebody actually being extradited by the UK to India to face trial. And now, of course, the question is, what is the UK government going to do? Vijay Mallya, interestingly, in his trademark smug style, tweeted a short while ago to say that this is nothing but the usual hype built by the Indian media, completely dismissing today's event, saying this is just the beginning of a legal process. Rahul, let me come back to you. You've been talking to your sources in the CBI and the ED, who are now, of course, pursuing this case for the last 1 year. It is on the basis of the documentation prepared by these agencies that Vijay Mallya was today arrested by Scotland Yard. The question is, how confident are Indian investigating agencies that they actually have a watertight case against Vijay Mallya?
The investigative agency are very hopeful that Vijay Mallya would be, brought back soon, will be, coming back to our country either through deportation or extradition, because of mainly the two reasons. One is the money trail. The CBI have already ascertained and established the money trail so that they could show that the Vijay Mallya used this money for his personal use, and he was not actually bankrupt, and he was actually using all this money, to take it out of this country. Apart from this, there are a lot of charges such as forgery, fraudulent cases, fraud, and 120 section that have already been pending against him. Apart from this, there are a lot of document which is available with the CBI and ED, which actually indicts, Vijay Mallya that he was actually misleading the banks on the front of money, and he was actually not willing to pay that money. And apart from the main question is the pending cases in India. There are a lot of non-bailable warrants, that are pending here in many courts. Many Kingfisher Airlines of employees have already filed many cases against him in different parts of the country. So all this makes a watertight case against Vijay Mallya, and ED and CBI are very confident that they've already gathered all the evidences and proofs that are required so that he could be prosecuted and he could be actually penalized for what have he done in the future. And even today, we interacted with the CBI officials. They were actually very happy that it was the request of theirs. It was the request of CBI on which he was first arrested. However, he was granted a bail by the court. After a brief arrest. However, they are saying that they are very hopeful that sooner or later he will be coming to India and he will be facing trial here for all the crime which he had committed in past.
All right, thanks very much, Rahul, for getting us all those details. So the Indian government and the Indian agency is quite hopeful, even confident, that they will be able to bring Vijay Mallya to justice. But really, it all depends on which way this case goes in the UK court, because it's the UK court that has to be convinced that there is a strong enough case for extraditing Vijay Mallya. Today, of course, the court decided to grant him bail within 3 hours of his arrest. Of course, this is just the beginning of a long process. We'll have to wait and see how this unfolds. But for now, let's listen into some more reactions that have been coming in.
I think it wasn't an easy thing, but the Indian government did achieve what they wanted to achieve. Whatever is due and what is legally due, I'm sure he will pay. I'm sure he'll also want to resolve the problem. And I think this matter would have been easily resolved in the first place if he hadn't left India. And I think the British justice system is very fair, and so is the Indian legal system. So I think he will get justice, and as Dr. Mallya is claiming that he has not done anything wrong, if he's not done anything wrong, of course he will be set free.
And in fact, this whole Vijay Mallya saga will be our big focus tonight at 8 in a special hour-long broadcast where we'll bring you the inside story of just what went down before Vijay Mallya's arrest and where this case goes from here. We'll have a special panel of guests joining us on that special broadcast from 8 to 9.